this video, and it's gonna be like a two-part video. Well, it's gonna be two-part. Yeah, two parts, kind of, sort of, because I'm just gonna talk about my journey. So, since about June, I've been going back and forth to the doctor a lot. I have been in a lot of pain lately, a whole lot of pain. One day I was at work, and I work at a preschool. I love my kids. I work at a preschool, and I was in a lot of pain. My cycle was on. My cycle was on for like maybe 2-3 days. And I told my coworker, I was like, yo, like, I'm in a lot of pain right now. Like, I barely can move. I was in so much pain that I can barely drive, barely stand, to do a whole lot of stuff. So at first I didn't want to go home. I was just like, I'm gonna fight it out. I'm gonna be fine. I'm not gonna go to sleep. So, well, not go to sleep. I'm not going, don't send me home. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. So I got to the point where they had to send me home because I could barely walk. I could barely stand. And you know, when you're around a child for a long time, they pick up on a whole lot of things. And my students were like, are you okay? They're coming giving me hugs, even though they give me hugs all the time, but it was just like extra, just giving me extra love. So I ended up getting sick at work. I ended up throwing up. So they finally sent me home, and I fussed them out. No, I don't want to go home. I don't want to, you know, make somebody else have to come in or make somebody else have to stay, because I don't like when stuff like that happened to me. Like, I don't know. So I went home. So I still was in pain. So maybe like I left work at like 12 o'clock, and maybe by like 6 o'clock, I went home, took a shower, and then went to sleep. And I woke back up and I still was in a lot of pain. I was still sick to my stomach. So I went to the urgent care. So urgent care basically told me, well, they was mainly focused to see if I was pregnant and see if I was having a miscarriage. And I was like, no, I can't be pregnant because my cycle is on. Like, there's no way. So she still was like, well, I'm still going to take a test. You know, so I took the test, took blood, did all this to try to make sure I wasn't anemic and I wasn't like all of that, just all of that stuff. So everything came back negative. So she was like, I just think that you're just having really bad cramps with your cycle, but I just advise you to maybe follow up with your OB. So followed up with my OB, and I did a pap smear. And my OB was just like, after she did the pap smear, she was like, everything was fine. It's just I'm a little worried because your cervix is enlarged and there's a lot of blood there. So I'm just like, what? Like, what does that mean? So she was like, well, you know, I'm gonna just follow back up with you, or whatever, so I can give you the real answer of like, why is it enlarged? And I'm gonna go do an ultrasound. So little old me, like I said, little, but me decided I wanted to go on Google and look up, like, why is my cervix enlarged? And I had like my friends telling me, girl, you better not go on Google and look up stuff, because you go look up stuff and then you go see something and you go think you have it and that'd be wrong. And I didn't listen. I actually went on Google to see what was going on. And Google was saying like a whole lot of stuff. And I'm like, what? So then I ended up scheduling the ultrasound, And when she did the ultrasound, she just was like, oh, well, you know, you have polyps, you have fibroids, and you have a cyst. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, I know I come from a family where we have, like, cysts and stuff like that. So I wasn't really too bothered with that because I kind of knew sort of that. And fibroids on my mom's side is bad. And on the cyst is bad on my dad's side. So, she was like, well, the polyps is the reason why you've been in so much pain when you have your cycle. So she was like, well, we can do surgery and remove it. And I was like, okay. So she was like, we're going to do another ultrasound the week before your surgery. So I did the ultrasound, but then I had to reschedule my surgery because something with my doctor, blah, blah, blah. So I went back to the doctor week before last. No, maybe 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And they did the ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech was like, when was your last cycle? And I was like, 2, 3 weeks ago. Why? She didn't say anything. So I'm thinking like, sis, what's going on? Like, what? Like, I'm saying, like, maybe I'm pregnant and I had a miscarriage, or I'm having a miscarriage right now. Like, all type of stuff was going through my head. So as she was looking on the screen, I saw like this red and blue stuff on the screen. And I was like, what's that? And she was like, that's blood. And that's a lot of blood to say that you had your cycle like 2, 3 weeks ago. So I was like, oh, okay. So after the ultrasound tech, you know, said I was done or whatever, I went to go see my doctor. My doctor was like, you know, telling me what they saw and telling me how they didn't see the polyps, and she was a little concerned or whatever, and she was offering to do another procedure, but I would still have to have surgery, or I could just go ahead and have the surgery and just be all done. And I was like, okay, I just need to have the surgery because I don't want to have to continue to come back and forth to this doctor. So she just was saying like how the polyps wasn't there or whatever, and she was saying, you know, there was still like a whole lot of blood in my cervix, so she was gonna go and scrape my cervix or whatever. So she was like, and then she was gonna really want to do the surgery so she can fully see like what's going on up there. So she was like, well, I never really had to. So what they're going to do is, instead of cutting me, they're just going to go up my hoo-ha and do everything, unless there's some complications, and then they'll have to cut open. And I'm prayed that there's no nothing, so I don't have to do that. Oh yeah. So yeah. So she said she never had to do that, so I don't have to worry. So I'm just praying that nothing goes on. But before I went to my ultrasound that day, I wrote in my journal, my prayer journal, that I just wish that when I went to the doctor, I would have had good news. And I just felt like when she said that polyps was not there, that was a good news. But when I had my cycle this month, I was in pain. And I'm like, okay, something is wrong. I was sick. I was literally at work on the floor, balled up. I was in that much pain. So we will see Wednesday how this goes. And we will see next month in October how my cycle goes. Because if I'm still in pain, we're going to have a problem. Because it's going to be like, what did you do? So this just will probably be the first part of my video. I'll probably be back Wednesday before and after surgery if I feel well. So it's the day after surgery. I wasn't able to record yesterday. One, traffic was horrible getting to the hospital. Two, by the time I got to the hospital, when I got to the hospital, I was already signing my paperwork and already putting me in the bag, changing my clothes, based off what my mom told me when my doctor came out when I was in recovery. I was in recovery for about an hour. That at first, like I said before, when I was at the doctor, we couldn't find the polyps. The polyps had disappeared, but yesterday the polyps was there, and there also was another one growing, so she was able to remove both of them, so I wouldn't have to deal with that anymore. Now the fibroids, when she opened up down there, the fibroids moved, but she already told me that before the surgery. So she said sometimes when she opens people up, it's still it could be a possibility that once she opened it up, it would have moved backwards. But she said it is a possibility that the fibroids could just go away, or it can shrink on its own. But the main thing that they were worried about was the polyps. So that's gone. Yes, I still have my hospital band on. I did take a shower yesterday. When I got home, I wasn't able to do anything. I was still, woozy off the anesthesia. I was able to take a shower last night. I just never took my hospital band off. I did wash. I washed really, really, really good because I felt like I smelled like medicine. I'm trying to pull it off. I can't find my scissors. Oh, got it off. I had no energy yesterday to pull that off. But yesterday when I was on that anesthesia, my mama said that I almost fell. She said that I sat in the living room with her for a while, and I went to Panera Bread to get some broccoli cheese soup because I can't eat anything greasy, and I really didn't have an appetite yesterday either, so I was just trying to force myself to eat, and I ate a little bit. And then when it was time for me to get up, I said I wanted to get up to go to the bed. I got up and I started falling face first, she said, and I almost hit the floor, so she had to guide me to my room. My bed is kind of high, so I had to like jump up high just to get in the bed or whatever, or she had to push me in the bed. But haven't really been in any pain so far today. I really haven't been bleeding like how she said I would have been bleeding. Yesterday I put on a overnight pad, like a huge pad to go from front to back, and I did not use anything, so it was like a waste of pad. And I put another one on last night after I got out of the shower, just to see if like anything would happen. But it's still nothing. It was like a script. I have to go back to the doctor in like 2 to 4 weeks. But I just don't let anybody know that if you're dealing with fibroids and polyps or anything, please go to the doctor to get it situated. Now it's just a waiting game to see when I get my next cycle, will I be in any pain then. She also said that sometimes my pain can also be ovulation issues too as well. So we will see at the end of this month what my cycle would be like. But I just want to give awareness to people, like, if you're going through this, go to the doctor, because the polyps can lead into worse things than what I had to deal with. And I do not want to see anybody go through the pain that I went through, or go through pain worse than me, because polyps can lead into cancer. So if you feel like you're bleeding too much and you're in pain or any of that, go to the doctor, because you might be thinking there's something and it's really not anything. Like, literally, I've been going through this since 2018, and I just thought I was just having real bad cramps. And my doctor at the time, because of the place that I was working at, we had our own doctors or whatever, own doctor's office, didn't have to do no wait. She was a good doctor, but she put me on birth control. And I took the birth control for like maybe 2 months and I got off. She was saying that, oh, it's just, you know, it's just you need to go back on birth control. And I always go on the pill. I always was on the pill, but the pill is no good because I always forget. And I don't want to get in a shot, and I don't, the IUD, none of that. So I just took the pill. Now my OBGYN now, she was trying to get me to do the IUD before we knew everything that was going on, but now I'm fine. I just pray that when I get my cycle this month, it is not that bad. But I just want to let people know that if you are experiencing anything pain-wise, like real bad cramps, to the point that you can't walk when your cycle is on, go to your OB. Like, really go to your OB, because it could be something serious. That was just my journey. I wish I would have recorded like days that I was in pain so y'all could have see. Like, I literally used to be on the floor. I used to be in the bed, sleeping on a heating blanket. And if you are in pain and you can't get to the doctor, like my nurse told me, she suggested that you get a rice sock, or you get a heating pad or something that's hot and put at the bottom of your stomach, because that helps with heating. I mean, helps with cramps. I also was taking naproxen, which is like a pain medicine. That did not help. It made me nauseous. I got sick. Doctor gave me pain medicine for yesterday, and I literally only took 2 pills. One of the pills I took because I was trying to go to sleep, but I didn't go to sleep taking it, and so it was like a waste. So I'm just saying, if you got any problems with your cycle, go to the doctor. And that's just me signing out. If anybody got any questions about polyps or anything, let me know. I will give you all the information that I know.